Do not become extremely bearish when the market is extremely weak. Do the opposite. When the market is extremely weak, specifically, that is when you have to start looking for long opportunities. Hello everyone, so we have all important NVIDIA earnings today after hours. What I want to show you guys before the market closes, I want to post this video and describe what is going on in the market. I want to take a look at the SP 500, the NASDAQ, the VIX, the large tech stocks, as well as the crypto market. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the video. First and foremost, I want to make this very clear. This is a daily time of the VIX, okay? And when the VIX is showing a lot of strength, the market should be pulling back. And that's exactly what's going on. There is an inverse relationship to the VIX as well as the overall market. Now, with that being said, when the VIX is trading this far overextended to the upside like this, the strength in the VIX is not sustainable. When there's a lot of strength in the VIX, once again, if there's a lot of strength in the VIX and we're trading outside of the upper level of the Bollinger Band like this, it does not sustain itself. You could see time and time again in the past that, yeah, we could end up closing out, but then we revert back. We could end up opening and closing out. We revert back. There could be huge spikes to the upside, but we revert back. And each and every time the VIX reverts back after a huge spike upwards, there is a pump in the market. Okay? So this is why currently I am looking to consistently buy dips in the market. Yes, absolutely. The VIX can have a big spike upwards like this. But the money, the safer bet, is to look for longer term calls and look for long-term plays to buy the dips in. When the market is already this high, when the VIX is already overextended to the upside, when the overall market is already very weak, that's not the time to start going short, okay? So this is the first and foremost thing that I wanted to show you guys of why I am leaning bullish in the overall market, regardless of whether we have NVIDIA earnings tomorrow or not. Next, Google. This is a daily time frame of Google. Google made a new all-time high, okay? Warren Buffett entered long into Google. We got news that he entered into Google down here. We gapped up 4% overnight, and now we are above 300. I was explaining that Google had a lot of upside room because all of Wall Street was going to start piling into Google. And it just so happens that Buffett entered Google prior to NVIDIA's earnings. That's another important sign, right? If he was afraid, essentially, because they're in contact with each other. Everyone is in contact with each other. They're all in the know. When you're putting this much money into a company, right? If there were cracks in the armor, if there were things to be afraid of, if there were main bearish reasons to be completely bearish on the market, Buffett would not have entered long at all-time highs. And the fact that Google also made a fresh new all-time high today and spiked above 300 is very telling to how strong the overall market is, okay? So that is really, really something that I want everyone to take into consideration here. All right, this is a daily time frame of Tesla. What we are seeing out of Tesla is, pragmatically speaking, what is it trying to do here? It's trying to bottom itself out. Okay, so what we can do is we can take a look at Tesla by looking at the most recent highs to the most recent lows and see exactly where Tesla is trading. It's currently at the 23.6% fib, and it's trying to create a bull flag. This is not the time, in my opinion, to start shorting Tesla. I could be wrong, but this, I'm telling you guys, in terms of even a day trade, this is a very, very aggressive short. This is not the time, in my opinion, to start going short on Tesla. So there's room to the upside here. We should be seeing 420 to 430 very, very soon, in my opinion, on Tesla. And in the coming months, we should definitely be seeing above 460, above 470. I understand the market looks very, very tough right now. I understand, there's a lot of bearishness in the overall market. I just want to go ahead and remind you guys real quick after this what we ended up doing in April at the end of March, okay? So that's that for Tesla. Looks bullish, okay? 380 held. We're above 400 now. Even if we get a dip back down to 390, all of this is good buying opportunities, in my opinion. Tesla is at a level of support. We're looking at all of the large tech stocks one at a time to see if they're showing strength or weakness. Tesla is not showing that much weakness. It is at a level of support, okay? All right, and this is a daily time frame of Apple, okay? What is Apple doing? Okay, pragmatically speaking, guys, what is Apple doing? What is it showing right now? Is Apple showing that it's going to gap down and make new lows? No, it's holding above 266. It's currently holding above 270, and it is trying to, it painted a very large green candle like this. Apple is the second largest company in the world. Apple and Google are both showing a lot of strength, right? Tesla is also showing strength at levels of support. You cannot discount this. This is not something that you can just write off. And this, in my opinion, is not really an amazing short opportunity. If we still have room to go to 274 to 275 area for a short opportunity. But would I want to go short here? Absolutely not. The other thing that we're looking at on Tesla currently is the lower level of the Bollinger Band is straight up. It is moving straight up, which means that the lower moves, the potential lower moves in the market in Apple are being stunted, okay? As the Bollinger Band moves upward like this, it means that any move to the downside outside of the Bollinger Band automatically becomes overextended to the downside. And what do we know? When these stocks become overextended to the downside, they want to end up bouncing, okay? So the fact that the Bollinger Bands are catching up very quickly to the price of Apple right now is bullish for Apple. So this is a daily time frame of Microsoft, and it seems like Microsoft, due to the buyout news and also the investing of, the AI company Anthropic, Microsoft is getting a bit of a dip below 490. This is a normal rotation from losers into winners. But the fact that there are winners in the market currently is a good sign for the market. Usually when a company invests a large stake or there is a buyout, there tends to be a bit of a dip out of that company, which is normal, right? So Microsoft is, making new lows, completely broke levels of support, and we have a lot of support here at around 480 to 485. Pragmatically speaking, okay? And this is not really looking that bullish, of course. We're not blind here. So Microsoft does not look that great, okay? We're not completely just biased with everything. Microsoft definitely looks a little bit bearish here. This is a daily time frame of Meta. Meta is trying its best to hold above 580. Where is it right now on a chart? It's holding at a level of support, okay? So even if it does, in general, I'm not looking to long Meta. I would rather use Meta as an opportunity to see where the market is in terms of strength or weakness. Meta is at a level of support, okay? I don't want to be short on Meta after Meta has already dropped over 20%. Meta is a $1 trillion company. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. 20% on $1 trillion, it has lost over $200 billion in market cap. This is not the time to be bearish, okay? You could end up going long Meta, but personally, I don't really want to, primarily because there's other better volatile contracts that we could enter. For example, Tesla, there's just better long opportunities. But the reason why we're looking at Meta is because it gives a good opportunity to see where the market weakness or strength is. And we're at a level of support on Meta, okay? That is very apparent. And this is a daily time frame of Netflix. Netflix is continuing to chop around at this level of support. Not huge movements up, not huge movements down. We just got the stock split. So now, Netflix is starting to get some more buyers. The lower level of the Bollinger Bands are starting to tighten up. The upper level of the Bollinger Bands are also starting to tighten up. we're holding support. There's not much really to do, and this is definitely not the spot, in my opinion, to become bearish on Netflix. And last but not least, this is the daily time frame of Amazon. Amazon is also getting a pullback due to basically Bezos looking for investors for his new AI company. Okay, so when these companies tend to get buyouts, for example, when Amazon bought out Whole Foods, things like that, there tends to be a pullback. Also, Amazon and Bezos being a part of the Epstein files probably doesn't help, but we're around 220. This is at levels of support. It's also showing some weakness, but who are the two biggest winners in the market right now? The companies that invested recently, which is Amazon and Microsoft. Money is flowing into other stocks, which is good for the overall strength of the market, okay? Keep that in mind. And last but not least, let's go ahead and take a look at the chip stocks. All right, so this is a daily time frame of NVIDIA, okay? NVIDIA is reporting earnings today after hours. Clear as day, all of the AI infrastructure stocks, IREN, NBIS, all of these random, AI software-related companies are doing very, very well. We understand that Peter Thiel sold out of, I believe, all of his NVIDIA shares, but that doesn't discount the fact that Buffett entered into Google recently. Google is an AI player, okay? So NVIDIA is reporting earnings today after hours. When we look at, in terms of technicals, there's nothing really new technically to look at, because for these stocks specifically, everything is going to be a toss-up. NVIDIA can either bounce and beat really aggressively, or it can drop really aggressively. So AMD is also holding above 220, but just for the sake of sharing, there's not really much, if this holds this and this holds that. There's nothing really to talk about in terms of that. Everything is riding on NVIDIA's earnings, okay? But now that we really talked about the chips and the VIX and the large tech stocks, I want us to look at the SP 500 and the NASDAQ and basically show you guys where we are and how much room there is to drop lower, and then what the overall outlook, in my opinion, is for the market, okay? All right, so this is a chart of the S&P 500. We have dropped 5% from all-time highs. In my opinion, we can still drop down to 640, 630 on the SPY, in my opinion. But do I want to begin shorting down here? Is this the time to start shorting? No, not really. This is instead the time to start buying dips. So this, we just entered into some longs here. We're going to enter some more longs at 646, and then we're going to enter some more longs at around 630. Okay? So these are all really, really good spots, in my opinion, to enter longs. Starting to get good spots to enter longs. The VIX is very far overextended. The S&P and the NASDAQ are at levels of support. The large tech stocks are still showing strength. Google and Apple are making new highs. Apple is showing a lot of strength. Every dip is a buying opportunity. Okay? Every dip for the next few months is a buying opportunity. Do not, once we start showing weakness in the market, that is not the time to start showing bearishness. That is not the time to become bearish. Okay? And one of the easiest things that we did was back in April. So, back in March and April, we ended up going short on the market back in February, and we were short on the market down here as well. All right, we went short the market down here. This is April. We ended up going long at the open on April 7th. Right here, down here, we ended up going long when the SPY was at 490, 480s. We ended up entering into 486 calls, 490 calls, and 500 calls. We can go back to the Discord. We have entered down here at the lows. Why was that the case? Were we entering short? Were we entering short as the market was dropping? No, we were leaning long. We were leaning long for multiple months out because that is the direction that the market wants to go. When the market is overextended like this, very, very overextended to the downside, these are all good longing opportunities for months out. These are not times where you want to go short. If there was extreme weakness in the market and you went short, that might have worked, but we ended up buying the weakness. I posted the levels. We ended up catching the dip absolutely perfectly back in April, and this is going to be no different. What's going to end up happening during this dip, no matter how much lower we fall, we are going to catch the dip, and we're going to continue to make money on weakness. Do not become extremely bearish when the market is extremely weak. Do the opposite. When the market is extremely weak, specifically, that is when you have to start looking for long opportunities. Just do the reverse of your logic sometimes, okay? That is what we are basically going to be looking at, and it's just something that we've consistently done. Like year in and year out, when there's extreme weakness in the market, we bought the dip, and it's been working out phenomenally. It's just what ends up happening in the middle is people get too exuberant. You throw too much of your money for too short of an expiration date. That's not what we're doing here. All right? Please be very careful about your expiration dates. Please be very careful about how much money you're putting into these things. Have money to buy dips. Do not throw your entire portfolio trying to catch these moves, okay? Have money to buy dips. I'm telling you guys, okay? Please. So that's that for the S&P. We take a look at the NASDAQ. It's the same concept, all right? The NASDAQ has a lot of support down at 570, 560. We're at 600 right now. It's at a level of support, okay? We're not yet supremely overextended the way, gapping down outside of the lower bands as we were in April. But the VIX is very far overextended to the upside, okay? So we have to look for good long opportunities. This is one of those good long opportunities for 3 months out. As we get further and further down, the more aggressive we fall lower, the more aggressive we will look to buy calls. Period. That is what's going on. And if you do not feel comfortable doing this, that's completely fine. You could always day trade. But this is what the trajectory of the current market dynamics is. And one thing that I'm really looking forward to is I want to see how much stronger Google and Apple can be, how much more support Meta and Tesla can hold, and how much stronger the VIX can continue. Because I don't believe the VIX is going to continue like this. If it does, we'll just buy more dips. Very simple. It's at this point, guys, I'm telling you, I'm making this video right now. I want you guys to look back at this video. And I'm telling you guys, this is what's going to end up happening with the market. It's just in the next couple of weeks or days when the market collapses, if you have invested too heavily in your long positions, you need to have money to buy the dips. That's really it, okay? So keep that in mind. And that's really that for the entire stock market. The crypto market is getting a hit, in my opinion, because of a lot of funds are selling out of crypto. That tends to be the case when the overall market is getting a pullback, but Solana is holding lows. Ethereum is holding above 2,800, which are levels of support, and Bitcoin is still holding around 90. So it's not as if the entire market is getting a huge pullback, but one extra thing is in the files, I need to verify this, but I heard that MIT released that in the files, he helped fund the early stages of Bitcoin's development. So if that's the case, then that's pretty bad for Bitcoin, actually. So we're going to have to verify that. But it's, in general, things are starting to become really, really good long opportunities. Do not let this opportunity go, all right? Do not start to become extremely bearish. I'm telling you guys, this is not the time to become extremely bearish, in my opinion. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. This is not something crazy. This is a repeat of every single time we've had a huge pullback. Every single time we've had a huge pullback, I've come and made a video. I've come and tried to explain, hey, guys, this is a good dip buying opportunity. A couple weeks or days later, it ends up making highs. So this, in my opinion, is not going to be any different. Just please be careful. Do not overextend yourself financially. Have money to buy dips. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning in the Discord. Have a good one. Take care.